Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Daiwa Anglo-Japanese Foundation. My name is Jason James, and I'm just going to do the introductions before I hand over to the people who are going to do the real work today. So our two speakers today are joining us from London and Tokyo, and I will very briefly introduce them before handing over. So Menju Toshihiro is a managing director of the Japan Center for International Exchange, where he's been since 1988, so long experience there. He's also worked as an adjunct lecturer at Keio University. He currently serves as a member of the Cultural Affairs Council of the Agency for Cultural Affairs. And his most recent book, which is very relevant to today's topic, translates as Demographic Decline and Japan's Immigrant-Driven Rebirth. And then our chair for today, Brad Blitz, is Professor of International Politics and Policy and Head of the Education, Practice and Society Department at University College London. And he frequently comments in the media on migration and related issues, and also is involved in a number of major research projects in this area. And his most recent publication, or one of his most recent publications, is also highly relevant, Migration and Freedom, Mobility, Citizenship, Exclusion. And I'm now going to pass over to Brad to chair this.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction. We're very fortunate today that we will have a presentation from Toshihiro Menju, who is the managing director of the Japan Center for International Exchange and has written widely on matters of immigration in Japan. This is a really fascinating and fast-moving area for consideration here. When we think of the OECD states, and we think of how they have managed migration, how they managed immigration in the past, traditionally immigration has been treated as an area where labor has been restocked, where countries have sought to invite in certain categories of worker, certain categories of migrant on the basis largely of skill sets, not exclusively skill sets. And it has also very much been linked to matters of control, questions around social cohesion, questions around integration, obviously resonate. And in this, Japan is very much a newcomer. And so it's very interesting to understand how Japan is addressing now demographic challenges, very stark demographic challenges, as we will hear, through new welcoming immigrants, encouraging settlement in some cases as well, and also diversifying the migrant base. So this is truly unprecedented. And in this, Japan is yet again another exception within the OECD states by virtue of the scale of the problem it is trying to address. So with that, I would like to turn over to our speaker and ask Menju-san to deliver the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for a very kind introduction. So I'm going to discuss Japan's population decline and immigration. As most of you are aware, Japan's population has been declining rapidly, but Japanese government does not officially announce that Japan will take immigration policy. I think this situation can be called immigration dilemma. So today I'm going to discuss how serious the Japan's depopulation is and why Japan fell into the immigration dilemma and how it can get out of it. A slide, please. Next slide, please. So Japan's population today stands at 124 million and ranked 12th in the world, but it is rapidly decreasing and aging at the same time. Japan's elderly population over 65 years old occupy 29% of total population, and the population over 80 years old just reached 10% very recently. The population decline started 2008, and the pace of decrease has been accelerating. This graph shows the result of the most recent report of IPSS government agency released in May this year. according to this, after 2020s, the depopulation becomes much faster and continue at least for another several decades. This forecast also says Japan's population will reach below 100 million in 2056, and in 2070, it will be 87 million. So 1/3 of the today's population will be gone next 50 years. Next, please. So depopulation has already a tremendous impact. For example, 470 public schools disappear every year due to the smaller number of children. The bus routes in Japan also disappearing 1,000 kilometers per year, every year. So this trend is also true for railway, and even the number of hospitals are also decreasing gradually. So I mentioned the population decrease started 2008, but decrease of working age population, 15 to 64 years old, began to decrease in 1996, much earlier. So between 1996 and 2022, the decrease of working age population reached 14 million. So more than 10% of the total population. So there is no wonder Japan's society has been much affected by the depopulation. Next, please. So this chart shows prefectures with population growth from 2016 to 2018. In Japan, we have 47 prefectures. I listed Tokyo, Aichi, and other prefectures. 7 prefectures. Those prefectures have seen the increase of population from 2016 to 2018. As all the other prefectures, the population decreased. So then you look at the Tokyo, Aichi, and horizontally, in the case of Tokyo, the population growth was 221,000. The population decrease of Japanese is 149, and foreigners increase is 72,000. So the population growth, percentage of the foreigners in population growth is 32.6% in the case of Tokyo. But look at the other prefectures, Aichi, Saitama, other prefectures, 79%, 69%, 68%. So majority of the population growth is due to the increase of foreigners. So very recently, even Tokyo experienced the population decrease. In the past, Tokyo absorbed the rural population and younger population to Tokyo. But now, even Tokyo itself experienced the depopulation. So you can see how serious the depopulation is. Next, please. This graph shows the increase of foreign nationals and decrease of Japanese nationals. Every year, look at the 2014 far left, increase of foreign nationals is 59,000, and on the other hand, decrease of Japanese national is 269,000. Every year you see the decrease of Japanese nationals are accelerating. And at the same time, number of foreign nationals increase as if it's supplement the 30 to 40% loss of Japanese population. The most recent figure this year for Japanese nationals, the loss of Japanese national is reached 810,000. On the other hand, the increase of foreign nationals is 300,000. So the same ratio, about 30 to 40% loss is covered by the increase of foreigners. So this change happened without any policy change. That means I think shrinking Japan needs foreign labor, foreign workers. Otherwise, Japanese society cannot sustain itself. So without any policy change, society itself or business itself require foreign labor. I think this graph shows that way. Next, please. Next, when this increase of foreign population started, this graph shows the increase of foreign population during the Heisei period. Heisei is a Japanese era name, meaning 1989 to 2019. In Heisei first or 1989, the number of foreigners are nearly 1 million, and 69% of them are Koreans, and many of them were residents who came to Japan before and World War II, so that they speak fluent Japanese. They occupy a large part at the time. But after 30 years, in 2019, the number of foreigners reached nearly 3 million, and the country of origin has become diversified. So Japan has experienced major change of foreign residents or immigrants in Heisei period. But the problem is that the attitude of the government, business, and the society towards them is that they are temporary stayers, not permanent residents, although most of them are living long time and forever. Next slide, please. So I put three major issues. One is the Japanese language education. Until very recently, the government has no policy for Japanese language education for foreign residents. Japanese language education has depended on the local volunteers. But in 2022, the government introduced the Japanese language education law. And currently, government aims at spreading Japanese language education classes throughout Japan. But at this moment, it's only, they mostly depend on volunteers, not by the governmental facility. The middle, for the employment, now we have 1.8 million foreign workers throughout Japan. However, companies tend to regard them as a supplemental workforce when they cannot find Japanese workers. The ratio of contract or dispatch worker in foreign labor composes about 20%, whereas the general ratio is only 2.5%. So at the time of pandemic, many foreign workers easily lost jobs, and fell into poverty. The foreign children education is also the problem. Although foreign students can attend Japanese public schools, but the support system for them is very poor and differ region to region. So the dropout rate is quite high. So now the pandemic is over, a large number of children, foreign children and family members are coming to Japan, but it is quite difficult to provide them with a proper education and support system at the time. Next, please. So now I like to briefly touch on the issue of immigration dilemma, or why immigration issue has become taboo in Japan. So in the past, until 2000s, there was some healthy discussion about immigration issue. Japan will face depopulation. Japan needs immigrants. Eventually, we'll have immigration policy. There was such a discussion. But the problem happened is that there was a change of the government. There was a ruling of the Democratic Party of Japan, 2009 to 2012. At the time, Democratic Party wanted to extend local voting rights to permanent foreign residents, mostly Koreans. But today's ruling party, LDP, Liberal Democratic Party, strongly opposed that. And there was a kind of emotional issue about whether Korean residents should be can, given the voting rights. And moreover, there was the territorial issue happened. Yeah, so there was a widespread hate speech movement incident throughout Japan, 2011 and 2015. Some people say if we accept immigrants, we have a rush of a huge number of Koreans or Chinese rush into Japan. They occupy Japan. This kind of very irrational, but negative and but emotional sentiment spread by the some ultranational kind of people, and some politicians agree with that. So this was a big problem. Then we had Abe administration came in. As you may know, he's mostly he's not mostly he's supported by right-wing, right-leaning supporters. So in this kind of atmosphere, although immigrants and relationship with China and Korea is not necessarily related, but there was the atmosphere created that accepting immigrant would be a risk for Japan. Next, please. But actually, there was a change of policies 2018. December 2018, there was a revision of immigration control and refugee recognition law. So we finally established a new residency category called specified skilled workers for blue-collar workers. So until then, there was no official status for blue-collar workers. We only have a technical internship training program. Those are the trainees, so that they are not official workers. But at this time, we officially accept foreigners as workers. And established at the same time, the government established Immigration Service Agency and Residence Management and Support Department. So that means the government regards them as residents, not the temporary stayers. So at the same time, the government also started comprehensive measures for acceptance and coexistence of foreign nationals. So this is an amalgamation of the different policies throughout many agencies. So now 217 policies are created. So now also November 2012 to 2022, Culture Agency report, State of Regional Japanese Language Education, called for all the municipalities to establish guidelines for Japanese language education and so forth. So this is a major change which happened after 2018. Next, please. So another important policy change is last year, roadmap for realization of society of harmonious coexistence with foreign nationals. This is more mouthful expression, but in this, this is a government decision. So 3 vision for ideal society of harmonious coexistence. So society where foreign nationals are included and all people can live safely and comfortably, and others. So this is a vision that Japan will need to accept foreigners and to live with them harmoniously. This is a kind of Japanese kind of vision for accepting foreigners. And also, second is a medium and long-term issue for should be addressed. So that is such as Japanese language education should be more program should be established, and the dissemination of information to foreign nationals. So the government established what they call one-stop center, counseling center in all prefectures. And the third is, I think it is very important, support for each life stage and life cycle for foreigners. So now it means now governments see foreigners not one-time stayers, they are resident or immigrants. So all those things indicates Japan already started to take immigration policy. But somehow the government does not officially openly mention Japan is taking immigration policy. This is a problem because without governmental, without maybe the prime minister's announcement on this openly mentioned Japan is taking immigration policy, the mindset of Japanese people will not change. And also Japan will not be regarded as an open country, open for immigrants, because it doesn't clearly mention Japan is taking immigration policy. As far as Japan is taking those measures, the government should openly discuss it, but it's not happened until now. Next, please. So this is a final slide. So event in 2012, 22, and 2023. So Japan accepted Ukrainian evacuees, and of course, the size of people coming to Japan is very small compared to the Europe, but it's a very big event for Japan, and this accepting Ukrainians as evacuees happened by the initiative of the prime minister. There is no legal basis, but he said we need to accept them. So the prime minister's initiative is very, very important. So it should be, the prime minister also should mention same way for, I think, immigrants. The second is review of technical internship training programs. This is a way to accept blue-collar workers before specialized skilled workers. And there was very recently final report. The kind of basis for final report was announced that TITP program will be basically abolished, but in the new program, workers can come to Japan and for 3 years, and they can move to this specialized skilled workers program, which allows them to stay, they can stay forever. So this is basically immigration program. So this change is happening. So also I also added 3 new proposals for private organizations. Keidan mentioned that suggesting new kind of immigration policy suggestion is suggesting strategically promoting immigration is very important. And JICA also involved in this issue. So they did a survey or research in which actually I was also involved. So it shows that by 2040, 6.74 million foreign workers will be necessary with the assumption of 1.24 annual GDP growth. That is a governmental kind of a target. So that means 6.74 million foreign workers, which correspond to about 10 million foreigners in Japan. That will happen less than next 20 years. This is a big change if it happens. But without accepting huge number of foreigners, Japan will not reach the target Japanese government is reaching for economic target. And JCI, where I belong to, we also made a proposal that our recommendation that we need immigration, full-fledged immigration law, although there is a roadmap or other measures, but those are not based on the law. Government should establish immigration law, full-fledged immigration. That's our recommendation. Okay, I end my presentation now. Thank you very much.